Hello and welcome to another video here on TejanoKeyboard.com. This is question and answer video number 2. I'm Rolando Revilla and I hope that you've been enjoying the videos. I know that I enjoy making them, and I'm also a big advocate for information sharing the knowledge, and I hope you are too. Be sure to tell your friends about our YouTube channel and about our website, www.TejanoKeyboard.com. Be sure to like the videos, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're on Facebook, be sure to like and follow the Facebook page, Tejano Keyboard. As I explained before, this is question and answer video number 2. So we're going to start off with the first question. And the first one is in regards to why I don't make tutorials on YouTube anymore. Well, there's a few reasons why. The first and main one is that my videos have been flagged for copyright infringement due to the fact that I've been using pre-recorded music by other artists as examples, but oftentimes it would be the entire song. So to prevent my page from being flagged, or my channel from being flagged for using copyrighted music, I've decided not to do that anymore. What I'll do from here on out is use small clips of songs and be sure to let everybody know that I am not purposefully trying to do any kind of copyright infringement, but rather I'm using the clips as examples for educational purposes. The second reason is that I do have private students that I do still do tutorials for, but I have a different method of sending them videos. I also feel that it's unfair for my students to see free tutorials on YouTube when they subscribe to my services for private lessons. And in reality, this is the third reason, I feel that just doing tutorials won't yield the kind of learning that is required to be able to play keyboards. What I want to teach is how to become a better keyboard player instead of just how to play songs, because anybody can learn how to play a song, but to teach somebody how to learn by themselves from theory and ear training, I believe that in the long run will actually make people become better musicians, not just keyboard players, but in general. My second question that I have here is in regards to reharmonization examples in Tejano music. Are there any more examples? Yes. There's people who do covers of songs and change up the arrangements. One of them in particular that I wanted to share with you as an example today would be a recording by Los Cardenales of Tu Vestido Blanco, which Los Cardenales is a norteño band and they've recorded it as a cumbia. But the René Serrata version that I think most of us are familiar with is a ranchera, and they use a different chord progression. So I hope you guys can hear the difference in the harmony, but also realize that there's a lot of similarities in the melody. So the first example here that I'm going to play for you is Tu Vestido Blanco by Los Cardenales. So here's a clip of the song at the chorus.
No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. No, no, por favor, que ya de celos tú me estás matando. No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. No, no, por favor, que ya de celos tú me estás matando.
Now here's a clip of the René Serrata version in which they are in the same key, but the melody is pretty much the same and the harmony has changed considerably. All right, so that's a great tune. I mean, one of my favorites of all time. I hope you guys could tell, besides the basic difference of the rhythm, you know, obviously one being a cumbia, the other one being a ranchera. The one that is al estilo de los Cardenales is obviously norteño, but the melody is very, very similar to the René Serrata version, René Serrata y Los Buenos. The difference is all in the harmony, and that's what I think gives it a little bit more of substance, in my opinion, when you're able to fit more harmony to a melody. It really just makes it come to life. Now, the last question that I have here is actually a combination of several questions that I have had, so it's more of a topic that I want to talk about. The last question was in regards to chord voicings, also in regards to ninths, and more questions about tritones and how to use those. So I'm going to use Vestido Blanco as an example to answer the question in regards to chord voicings. So first of all, let's get familiar with the tune. The chorus in the Cardenales version is going to go to A, which is your 1 chord, your primera. No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. Then they go to the dominant 5. For those of you who are used to doing things the old school way, that'd be your segunda, right? But break that habit if you can. Don't call it segunda, call it the 5 chord, you know, and it's a dominant 5 chord, because you go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's the 5 chord. Then you go to the 4 chord, or tercera, right? No, no, por favor, porque de celos no me estás matando. And by the way, please excuse the singing. I'm not a singer, but I'm just doing it so we can kind of have a basis of melody here. And so I can dive in a little bit more into the harmony side of things. So the Cardenales version is actually 3 chords. It's the 1, the 5, the 4, the 5, and the 1, which would be A, E, D, E, A. Now let's talk about the Serrata version. The Serrata version in a simple form would be A, which is 1, your 2, which is B minor, your E, which is still your 5, your dominant 5, okay? So if you go, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. No, no, por favor, porque de celos no me estás matando. Okay, so we're going to use those chords as a basis for talking about chord voicings, extensions. So let's talk about basic chord voicings. Obviously, we could do major triads, major and minor triads respectively. So A major, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. So this right here is B minor 7th, which is not a triad. It's a minor 7th. A triad would be like that. But more often than not, because Tejano rancheras lend themselves to nice, pretty chords, we're going to make it a B minor 7th. Okay. And then the E7, and then back to A. Okay. The next type of chords that we're going to talk about are ninths. Ninths are basically an extension. So what is a ninth chord? Okay. What's a 7th chord? What's an 11th? What's a 13th? Okay. When you build a chord, you usually build it off of your triad, which is 1, 3, and 5. Okay. If it's a minor, you have a flat 3 and a flat 7. So let's make an A major 7 first. So the way I would do that, I go A, there's your 3rd, there's your 5, 5, 6, 7. So there's a 7th chord. So there's a 9th right there, because you go 8, 9. The easiest way for me to remember how to get a 9th instead of counting all the way out is to play the triad and to add the 2nd note, because a 2 and a 9 are the same thing, okay? Because an octave is 8, right? But it's the same note as 1. So 1 and 8 are the same. So logically, the next one up, 2, would then be 9. So in this case, when we're talking about trying to do an A major 9th, sometimes I just add the B right here, which I think I like that voicing personally better than, because that's a little bit too bright. Okay, so there's your A major 9th. No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. So then we're going to go to B. That's a minor ninth. Okay, B minor ninth. We got your 1, your dominant 7, or your flat 7. You have your minor third, which there makes it a minor 7. This is your 5th, and this is your 7th again, and then 7, 8, 9. So there's your 9. Okay, but once again, I feel like this 9 right here on top is a little bright, so sometimes that voicing works too, or even that, and then not repeating the 7, or you could just play. That voicing's nice too, but I kind of like having the 7 down on the bottom, so sometimes I just kind of like double the 7, make it a little bit richer that way. So, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. Okay, and then your dominant 7. No, no, por favor. Sorry about that. Porque de celo tú me estás matando. Okay. So we're talking about doing ninths. So what other voicings could we use? What other types of chords could we use? I like to use fourths. Now, fourths doesn't mean that you add the 4th note. Fourth voicings mean that the space between each note is a 4th. Because with a regular triad, they're just stacked thirds. So that, what is a stacked third? A stacked third is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, we've all played chords like that. Okay, but what we're going to do instead is build a chord backwards, starting from the top to get the 4th voicing, and so we go down in fourths, in perfect fourths. So in this case, if we wanted to play an A, we'd start on an A, and a 4th down would be A or E, then B, then F sharp, then C sharp, and G sharp. Okay, so that's an A chord right there that you could play. Okay, what we have here is the major 7th, major 7. We have the major 3rd. We have the 6th, which makes it a 13th. Or actually, because it's not dominant, this would actually be an add 6. And then this would be the 9, right? Because 8, 9, the octave of, you know, the octave of the 2, or that's the 2, the 9, major 9. There's your 5th, and there's your root note on top. But I think for it to sound a little bit more, to have a solid foundation, what I like to do is actually move the 7th up a half step to get the root note on the bottom, and then the top note, I bring it down a half step to get the major 7th voice in there. Okay, so what do we have? We have 1, 3, 6, 9, 5, and major 7th. Okay. So now we're gonna go to the B minor. Okay, so B minor would be like that. Okay. And then if we want to play a dominant and with 4th voicings, it would be like this, right? That would be a regular major voicing, but because we want to have that dominant quality, we actually have this right here. Okay, so a sharp 4 and a flat 5 are the same thing, and if you remember from the previous video when we were talking about tritones, that's what that is down here. We have a tritone with an extension on top, so that right there is your E. Okay, so we could go like this. No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. There we go, sorry about that. And then we could go. No, no, por favor, porque de celos tú me estás matando. Sorry about that. There's the voicing right there for the A. Okay. So there's other things that you could do with those kind of open voicings. Okay, so one thing that you could do is leading down chromatically from here to make an altered 5 chord, okay? So this is still an E. What we have here is, there's your dominant, right? Because you have 1, 7, 3, and then you have 4, 5, 6. So it's a 13 right there, and then you have a flat 9. Okay, because there's 1, there's 2, and there's the flat 9. So you can go, no, por favor, porque de celos tú me estás matando. Then you can go back to the, there you go. So there's some fourth voicings. So we've covered ninths, fourth voicings. Those are some different voicings. And then I think what really embellishes harmonic structure to make it sound more sophisticated is to get from one chord to the next one. And the way that I like to do it, and I hear a lot of people doing it, is using a functioning 2-5. So what does that mean? So a 2 is usually a minor followed by a dominant 5 of a key. So for example, if we were to do in the key of C, right? You have D minor because C is 1. So 2 is D minor. Then you have G7, or in this case 13, it's a dominant. And then you have the 1, which is C. So it's, you know, and D would be, okay, so on and so forth. In this case, we already have, okay, in this song, in Vestido Blanco, we have B minor, E7, and A, which is a 2-5-1. But whenever you're going to the next chord, sometimes you could do a 2-5 to the next chord. So for example, if we want to end up on a B minor, the 2 would be a C sharp, the 2 would be a C sharp, the 5 would be a F sharp, the 5 would be a F sharp to B. So what I played right there is, okay, so if we were to put that in context, to get from A to the B, we'd do this. No, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. Okay? So do you hear how that changed everything? You could use different voicings for the dominant F sharp. So you could go, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. Okay? You could even use chords that are a lot more colorful for your dominant. So the F sharp could be something like this. So your F sharp could be something like this. Okay? Using whole tones. So let's use that voicing right there. So we'll go, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. Okay? You can use all sorts of different voicings for the F sharp, even a suspended, to get to the B. Okay? If we want to take that one step before, you could also use the D7 to get to the C sharp, and that's a leading chord. They're all leading tones to get to the F sharp. Okay? You could even lead to the F sharp chromatically, like going, okay? So you could go, no, no, por favor, ya no te pongas tu vestido blanco. So there's different examples of how you're able to use leading chords to get to the next chord, but primarily the 2-5 is a good example of how to get from one chord to the next. I want to thank you guys for checking out the videos. If you guys have any more questions about how to apply what we're learning here to different tunes, be sure to ask me. Please visit the website, tejanokeyboard.com. And if you'd like to donate there, it is greatly encouraged. That helps me continue to make these videos for you guys. And if you have any other questions, like I said, once again, you can leave them in the comments of this video here on YouTube. You can send me a message on Facebook. You can also email me or send me a message from the website. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that it wasn't too boring, but I think we covered a lot as far as chord voicings, and I hope you are able to use this in all of your playing. So have a great day and keep practicing, and we'll see you next time.